In a country grappling with a number of issues such as moral decay, insecurity, poverty, political distrust, and the likes, the church remains one of the most powerful and influential institutions in Nigeria. But the question is, has the church truly risen to its responsibility in today's society? Or has it become silent or comfortable or even disconnected from the struggles of the people? To discuss this issue with us this morning in the studio, we have Reverend Francis Ago. He is a priest and a humanitarian. You're very much welcome. Good morning.
God bless you, my sister.
Good morning.
Good morning, thank you.
Now, looking at Nigeria, I mean, the church has been a powerful institution in Nigeria for years. How would you say, or would you say that the church still upholds, its responsibility to, shape values and help people looking at Nigeria today? How is the situation or the state of the church so far?
Well, my sister, this topic is very complex in the sense that the church is human being. The church is not the building you are looking at. It's just the structure. We are the church. And when Christianity was introduced to us from the 16th century, 17th centuries, and 18th centuries, the people that brought the Christianity to us, they have things they came in with. There are kind of mindset they help us develop. There are things they introduced to us which have not been there. And even without Christianity, without even the church, there wasn't like Nigeria. Nigeria wasn't born before the church. Because if you can recall that the Britain who colonized Nigerians were the people who gave Nigeria as their name. So whatever Nigeria is or has been from the church, from the Christianity aspect of it. But I may say that at some point, there comes in a missing gap. There was a missing gap at some point. Because talk about education, it was Christianity that brought in education. It was the church at the time of colonization that brought in education. You talk about infrastructure development, it was Christianity, the church, that brought it to us. We talk about social development and economic development, those things were not there before. The way our forefathers have run those things were not, the right way or the universal accepted form. But when the church came in, when Christianity came in, they brought in a more acceptable, unified way of doing those things. Even the clothes you are wearing. I know before the coming of the white men, before the coming of the Christianity in Nigeria, people were going out naked. So, but if you look at education, for example, that I've been crying for, this education was brought in by the missions to give us insight, to train us, to teach us. And they have a way they are running education. They made education to be for everybody. They made education not necessarily determining your level or your grade or your stage in the society, but everybody were beneficiaries of education. And then there are moral standards that they set in the educational system. In those days, I know many parents wish that their children attend mission schools, because there you see the missionaries, the priests, the reverend fathers, reverend sisters, reverend brothers, or whatnot, trying to now instill morality in the life of these children. But at some point, when government took it over from the church, from the missions, the whole thing collapsed. We're now struggling with education. We're now struggling. Now, do you know that in those days of the mission in the school system, you have a guidance counselor in the school system who now identify what a child can be, and then give that child the way to be that which he has identified that child as having the intent to. But today, everybody wants his child to be a lawyer, whether he can read or not. Everybody wants his child to be a doctor, whether he has the knowledge or what or not. So that is the missing gap in education. Now, if you talk about infrastructural development, before now, you know, there were no roads. Those things were offshoot of Christianity, offshoot of the church to human society to help us live in a more conducive way of life. Yet there were no much main, third road in those days, but those ones that were available in those days were being taken care of. If you go to many places today, that development is no more common. They continue to promise. Now, I want to say something like this, that when the so-called politicians hijacked this social aspect of human development, we begin to have problems. Even in the church, whereby some persons who may want to be, in some areas you have persons who influences, who becomes our priest in the church. This one is not doing very well. They go to the bishop to complain to the bishops, and they may have influenced the bishop with one or two things, and set aside that person who has even more moral standard. Because let me tell you something again, to get it right is not always cheap. But we want to get it right without facing the consequences of it. We want to get it right without taking the pains. I have to come from Oji this morning to be here. It wasn't easy, but I have to be here. So these are some of the things. So the society of today, the church is struggling. Let me use this language. The church is struggling because the church is an agent of transformation, agent of truth, agent of straightforwardness. But because of the political class who have understood that this is what the church stood for, so they can't be good together with the church. So what they have succeeded in doing is to pull the church out of the system to take over. The church is struggling.
All right. Since you were talking about the church before.
Yes.
Yes. Now let's take a look at the church now.
Okay.
And the history so far when it comes to religious freedom. Now, if history were to judge Nigeria today on how it has handled religious freedom and human rights and the protection of lives so far, what do you think the judgment will be?
No, my sister, just to 0 point. Recently there is an issue, this issue of the American president about killing in Nigeria. I am a member of Christian Association of Nigeria. I'm a member of Christian Council of Nigeria, Enugu State Chapter. We have seen all these things. So now, do you know those days of Reverend Father Moses Adasun in Benue State in those days? These are church leaders who comes out to fight, to defend the faith. But I've told you something, there's a missing gap. Because some of our religious leaders at this age, once they come out to speak, then those in authority will now see them as enemy to what they want to achieve. And they may try to use one of their inner members now to influence them, to close up that voice coming out. To close up that voice coming out. So what they are doing in the modern society against the church is using the closer allies of the church leaders to close that gap, to close them up from not speaking out the truth. Like myself, for example, for coming to this studio, for many places I've been going, some person will come on phone sometimes and say, Reverend, they heard your voice, be careful. But you know one thing, if you are ready to live, you must be ready to die. So many of the Christians that today are not even ready to die. They are ready to live, and that's why we're having the problem. So instead of them not being the shepherd of the people, recollecting the old grace that the church fathers had used to defend the interests of the people, they are molding on their selfish interest. And that's our problem.
So now, seeing that you've said people are now being selfish and these gaps are influencing the church one way or another, what then does it mean for the religious system in Nigeria if the one institution that is supposed to uphold morals and give out morals and how to live rightly, if it's already being corrupted by external forces like the elites, like you mentioned, and all the likes, where do we now stand?
Okay, let me bring it to close of what you now. Some days past or some weeks past, some person said they are camping to one particular party. What are they looking for? If everybody will be males, I don't think it will be better. God in his wisdom said, let there be man, let there be woman, creating that balance. So the elites, because they know that the way they are going and the way they are doing some certain things are against the moral standard, which the church stands as the mouthpiece of the moral journey. The church stands as the mouthpiece of the moral journey. To not say, don't go this way, go this way. This is right, this is wrong. So what they have succeeded in doing is to make sure that they put the church on that silent position. Even that sometimes when they know, you should know that if I die today, for example, this is my Bible, nobody will worry me with this Bible. My children begin to make use of this Bible. Those rich men, those politicians, those elites, they know that when they go, they will not go with their wealth. But because they have lost the sense of responsibility, and they were trying also to use it to influence the leaders of the church, so that truth will continue to cry for justice.
Now, speaking of crying for justice, don't you think that the Christians, or should I say, most especially Christian Association of Nigeria and all the Christians that is under it, do you think that they should be neutral in politics, or do you think that they should take a stand, since this everybody is saying that this is a bad governance?
My sister, as you're looking at me, I've been part of politicians. I've been part of politics as a clergyman. I've gotten involved in those things, but let me tell you something. Once they see that why you are there is to now leave them from that their usual way, they will call you out for settlement. And if you don't want to accept that settlement side of it, you become a target. And again, another problem we're having is that the Christian community has never come to have one umbrella standing for them. Today, you have Christian Association of Nigeria. Some denominations are not part of it. You have Christian Council of Nigeria. Some denominations are not part of it. You have a Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria. You know, these divisions is even affecting the struggle. Now, maybe that today, that this person that is president or can today is not maybe a Roman Catholic, for example, then those of the Roman Catholic angle will not be seeing him as, representing them. But if we understand that we are Christians, one people, ecclesia, one people under Christ, and then forgo those things that divide us and bring those things that unite us, we can stand very firm. I know some years in Enugu State here, there was a voice for Khan in Enugu State who stands to speak morning, afternoon, and night against the government. Whichever they don't do it right, that voice will come up. But today, all those voices has gone into a belief room, and nobody is hearing any voice again. And it is a trouble, it is a problem, it's an issue. It's a serious matter.
Okay. Now, earlier on, you mentioned this, what is going on with the United States and, the U.S. government designating Nigeria as a country of particular concern. Now, in view of these international reactions, what role do you think that the church in Nigeria can play in, balancing out all of these things, condemning violence while also trying to maintain? What role does the Church of Nigeria?
The role they must play. Thank God I have a video clip on my phone. One of the clergymen from the north was speaking out openly, from experiences and what he know about the claims of the Christians in the north. I think what they should is that other Christian communities should join the forces. We should join the forces. Because even down here in the east, we're not even safe. We're not safe. So if we say it does not concern me today, tomorrow it might concern you. So now there is an information that is very glaring and very clear that some Christians are being slaughtered. Evidences are there. The church leaders should stand up with their feet on the ground to now let the government take action about it. So what the American government has said is reawakening us from our own responsibilities. The reawakening of our own responsibilities. It is we that are supposed to take every necessary means to speak out against these evil ills. Yes.
All right. Now, when you were speaking, you said that when the society hijacked the social part of human development, it becomes a problem.
Yes.
So I want you to clarify, how do you mean? What kind of problems and challenges do you think Christians are facing so far?
Okay. Now, in that issue of hijack, you will now know that before now, like I've said earlier, before now, the church fathers can stand boldly to condemn the wrongdoings of the government. But because of the way things are going, they are no more standing out. And because they are no more standing out, it is affecting the livelihood of people. People are suffering, my dear. The economy is dwindling every day. Hunger is on the increase. Unemployment on the increase. So if the church, the leaders, should take, like I've just said, take the necessary means from the studios like this, the social media, even in the pulpit in the church. Let them stand out in the pulpit in the church to let the authority know that people are not getting it easy. That it is not easy, so that we should not continue. Okay, like now they are talking about the 2023 election. All right, this is 2027 election. This is 2025. We have not even finished this 2025. A lot of things are going on. A lot of people are crying. We're talking about a year after now. So let us stand to say the truth at the center. How are you talking about tomorrow? A child that is born today is not yet in the school. He doesn't have any good food to eat. And you are talking about having a plan of a child that will be born in 2027. If that child did not come, what happens?
Now, we're also seeing recently there have been cases of issues around sexual assault and molestation. We've seen cases of minors being abused by parents and people generally. Now, do you think the church in Nigeria has done enough to protect these vulnerable groups like women and children who are usually victims of these cases, especially in issues of domestic abuse, rape, and stuff like that?
Now, have they reported those matters to the appropriate authorities? Like, I'm a clergyman, for example. If anybody comes to me to report such, I think I stand the opportunity or the grant to know how to do about it. But if they have not reported it to me, I may not even know. So, speak out is another language we're going to use. If you have those issues, speak out. Don't hide out those things from people who's supposed to know about it. Because that one that you are not seeing on social media is coming up may be the one that maybe that person has been there struggling. And at some point, he or she busts out to what is going on. But if we should know the importance of the spiritual leaders around us, the church pastors, the bishops, the priests, and the evangelists around us, we can confide on them to let them know about those things. And like, for example, myself, I can stand out even to invite that person that is accused of that thing. Then we'll discuss it one-on-one. Not speak out.
What about, so in cases when they speak out?
Now, in cases when they speak out, it depends. Another way is that it depends on who do they report it to. Because speaking out, as a humanitarian, do you know there are some issues, like, for example, I was discussing with some youth the other day. I told them, if you commit an offense and police arrested you, and you allow that police to write your statement by himself, maybe you tell the police, I cannot write. The police may write different thing from what actually happens. And when you go to court, what they're going to judge you is that statement you made with the police. So I was now encouraged that every youth needs to go to have primary knowledge of how to read and write, so that you can express yourself on your own. It's another way. So if those people who are victims were able to know the direct point they should go to complain and report their matter, I believe we'll have a way to solve it. Now, this should also be on that channel for we now to let the church leaders to go closer to their people. Because if you're a church leader, you need to know your members. You need to be friendly with them, so that friendship with them will also give you the opportunity of hearing from them when there are issues of such. But if you are not a father or a friend to those members around you, when they have such issues, they may go in to talk with you and that person, not you.
All right. And now many would say that Christian leaders don't like talking about politics or getting involved in it. Some would say that they focus on building cathedrals, building, getting buildings, donations, and all of that. And this is actually part of the problem that the Christians are facing. Now, has the church actually, tried to battle the insecurity, economic hardship so far? What has been the intervention of the church, especially the Christian Association of Nigeria, towards these issues?
Well, from what I know, that aspect of intervention has not necessarily really been there as it ought to. Because a hungry man is an angry man. The people you are talking about, to those pastors or we who are in the altars, most of the times the people we are dealing with are those elites who, like, if you look at the church before now, there is a kind of respect and submission to the authorities of the church before now. Well, maybe because of the porosity of qualifications and academic enlightenment, most of those elites doesn't even believe on what we're talking about again, because they will tell you that what you are doing, I know it. And because what you are doing, they say they know it, they cannot come down to that point of submissiveness. Now to reason with you, so that two of you can now be able to now chart a course to see, this is what is the need in society. These are the things we need to do to get things better. Sometimes, do you know that I know there was a time the government officials go to the church to seek the counsel of the church leaders. But today, the trend has changed, that the church leaders are even struggling to get access to the government officials, which is an issue that is not even very close to have solution to. This is the truth. This is me. I'm telling the truth of the matter. So you struggle to get access to them. Even somebody you campaign for, you convince people to vote for. When he gets there, if you call on his phone, the next thing is that this man is disturbing me. He will off the phone or put it on silent or put it on user busy, not knowing why you want to talk to him. So, I've told you before, there is a missing gap. And that missing gap will continue to be there until those people who runs to the church in the time of electoral campaign will understand they are going for a covenant system. But when they are seeing it as, okay, let me go to the church today, I'm a born again Christian, I'm a good man, I'll be in the church, then he will come to talk, blah, 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 blah. The priest or the pastor will now convene the church members to vote for him, and once he climbs up there, he will just back off his house and say, go hell with yourself.
All right. Thank you very much, Reverend Francis Ago. Thank you for joining us this morning.
God bless you.
Thank you for joining us.
God bless you.
And that's where we'll wrap up today's conversation on the show from our end. It's always a pleasure having you join us and being a part of our conversation. Now we'll be handing over to our Abuja studios for more insightful packages. I am Uchenna Chimdi Oluoha, wishing you a productive day ahead.
I am Lilian Wally. Have a great watch.
We are local.
Where the main market is in chaos. People
We are national.
Those in support of this motion as amended, say aye. Aye.
We have taken it by default.
We are international.
Israeli airstrikes.
Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment.